Welcome to Echoes of Time, where history whispers its secrets and legends come alive. And today we journey into the shadowed corridors of Japan's past to unravel one of its scariest and most haunting tales, the curse of the samurai ghost warrior. In the quiet valleys and misty forests of feudal Japan, where cherry blossoms dance in the wind and the mountains stand like ancient sentinels, there once lived a samurai whose name is now feared and whispered in trembling tones across villages and towns. For he was not just a warrior of skill, but a man consumed by rage, betrayal, and an insatiable thirst for revenge. This samurai, known in the records as Takeda Masaru, was a proud and loyal retainer of his lord, devoted to the code of Bushido, the way of the warrior, where honor, loyalty, and courage were the pillars of existence. Yet, even in the most honorable of men, darkness can creep in when trust is shattered. And Masaru's story begins in an era when clans vied for power and the land was torn apart by relentless conflict. Masaru's lord, Lord Hoshino, ruled with a just but firm hand, and Masaru was his most trusted warrior, the one who would ride into battle without fear, bearing the standard of his lord with unwavering devotion. Together, they had defended their lands from countless invaders, their swords a blur of deadly precision, and their victories sung by the bards of the era. But in the heart of power, envy often blooms. Among the council of advisors and rival retainers, there were those who coveted Masaru's position and the favor he held with Lord Hoshino. They whispered lies into ears that should have been loyal, speaking of ambition, of betrayal, of secret pacts with enemy clans, weaving a web so intricate that even the most discerning eye could be ensnared. Masaru, ever vigilant and honorable, had little reason to doubt his lord. Yet the seeds of suspicion, once planted, can grow like weeds in fertile soil, twisting perceptions and bending loyalty to shadow. It was on a night shrouded by heavy fog, the moon hidden behind thick clouds, that the betrayal reached its devastating peak. Masaru had been sent to guard the northern pass, a crucial route against rival clans. Yet the council of advisors orchestrated a trap, sending false messages and forged orders that led him into an ambush, leaving him isolated and vulnerable. In the darkness of that fateful night, Masaru fought with the ferocity of a storm, his katana singing a deadly song. Yet numbers overwhelmed him, and he fell among the blooded leaves, his final thoughts not of fear, but of the betrayal he had not seen coming, a wound deeper than any blade could inflict. News of Masaru's death spread like wildfire, yet it was no ordinary passing. Villagers began to whisper of shadows moving where no man walked, of a pale figure seen by lantern light, eyes burning with unnatural fire, a ghostly samurai wandering the forests where he had died. The legend says that Masaru's spirit could not find peace, for the injustice of betrayal anchored him to the mortal realm. It was said that on fog-laden nights, when the wind whispered through the pines and the moon vanished behind black clouds, the ghost of Masaru would appear, his armor rusted and bloodied, sword drawn, seeking vengeance against those who had wronged him and warning the living of the corruption that festers in the hearts of men. Farmers returning from the fields spoke of a warrior silently watching from the tree line, disappearing the moment they turned their lanterns upon him, leaving only the echo of footsteps and the chilling sensation of being hunted. Travelers claimed that if they crossed the northern pass after sunset, they would hear the clash of invisible swords, the cries of men in combat, and the unmistakable roar of a samurai betrayed, though no battle was to be found. The most unsettling accounts tell of Masaru's appearance not only to humans but to animals, as if the forest itself recognized his restless spirit. Dogs would bark at empty spaces, horses would refuse to move, and birds would flee in frantic flocks, as if the natural world itself feared the wrath of the fallen warrior. Over the centuries, the tale of Masaru's ghost evolved, merging with local folklore and Shinto beliefs about spirits, or yokai, who linger in the world of the living when unresolved anger or injustice binds them. shrines were erected near the northern pass, candles and offerings left in hopes of appeasing the restless soul. Yet even these gestures could not still the rage that burned within the spectral samurai. Some scholars suggest that Masaru's anger was so profound that it transcended the normal bounds of a spirit, that he became more than a ghost, a force of vengeance and warning, manifesting wherever treachery and dishonor dwelt. Villagers recount that those who mocked the story, or who ventured carelessly into the fog without respect, were met with terrifying visions, shadows stretching impossibly long, the sound of armor scraping stone, and a voice that would call their names, knowing secrets no living person should know. Those who saw Masaru often returned changed, their eyes hollow, their speech haunted by whispers that seemed to echo from the past, as if the samurai's memory was etched into the very air around them. One story tells of a traveling monk seeking enlightenment in the quiet mountains who encountered Masaru's ghost while meditating near the ruins of a castle where he had once served. The monk described a figure emerging from the mist, armor corroded yet imposing, eyes glowing with fury, and when he bowed in respect, the ghost merely raised his sword, letting the monk pass, but leaving behind a lingering sense of dread that clung to the soul for years to come. As Japan modernized, the curse of the samurai was dismissed by some as superstition, a story told to frighten children or entertain travelers. Yet even in the age of steel and concrete, reports continued. Hikers in the remote northern passes occasionally reported a chilling presence, the feeling of being watched by a being that was no longer of this world. Photographs taken in these areas sometimes captured anomalies, blurred figures in traditional armor, inexplicable mists, shadows cast where no light source existed, all feeding the legend of Masaru's eternal vigil. The curse, as it came to be known, was not limited to sightings. There were tales of misfortune befalling those who trespassed without reverence. Equipment failing, sudden illness, and accidents without explanation were attributed to the wrath of the samurai spirit, a reminder that honor and loyalty are not just ideals, but forces that, when broken, ripple across generations. Modern scholars have attempted to trace the historical roots of Masaru, examining records of feudal clans, military campaigns, and court intrigues. And while they acknowledge a samurai of his name existed, the details of his betrayal and ghostly vengeance are inevitably shrouded in myth. Yet the consistency of local oral histories, the rituals still practiced at shrines, and the unexplained phenomena suggest a truth beyond simple legend. The curse of the samurai ghost warrior became a cultural touchstone, a cautionary tale about loyalty, trust, and the consequences of betrayal, echoing the darker truths of human nature. Art and literature captured his image, a lone spectral warrior wandering a desolate landscape, sword raised, eyes burning with a righteous fury, a symbol both of fear and of moral reckoning. Even cinema and modern media have adapted the story, portraying Masaru as a tragic figure, torn between his humanity and his relentless desire for revenge, reminding audiences that history is not merely dates and events, but the living echo of human emotion and consequence. In some renditions, Masaru's spirit is not purely malevolent. He protects the innocent, punishes the corrupt, and serves as a spectral arbiter of justice, a ghostly embodiment of the Bushido code he lived and died by. In others, he is a warning, a nightmare that haunts the ambitious and treacherous, ensuring that the betrayal of honor is never forgotten. Across centuries, countless pilgrims, thrill-seekers, and researchers have sought the northern pass, each hoping for a glimpse, each carrying a mixture of fear and reverence. Some leave offerings, hoping to placate him. Others record their experiences, their journals filled with accounts of cold gusts, eerie sounds, and shadows that move against the wind. One particularly chilling account comes from a historian who camped near the ruins of Lord Hoshino's castle. He awoke in the dead of night to the sound of footsteps on stone corridors that no longer existed, a whisper of his name in a voice that seemed to carry the weight of centuries, and the sudden, paralyzing sense of being watched by eyes that burned with fury and sorrow. He fled at first light, never returning, leaving his notes as testament to Masaru's lingering presence. The curse of the samurai ghost warrior has also intersected with other Japanese legends, blending with tales of Yurei, Onryo, and other spirits who haunt the living due to unresolved grievances. Masaru's story serves as a bridge between history and myth, a reminder that the deeds of men, honorable or treacherous, leave marks not only on the earth but on the unseen realms. Today, as the sun sets over Japan's mountains and the fog rolls down the valleys, the northern pass remains a place of mystery and apprehension. Guides warn travelers, locals maintain shrines, and those who listen carefully on certain nights claim they can hear the metallic clang, the clang of a sword, the soft whisper of a promise unfulfilled, the restless sigh of a warrior who died, betrayed, but refused to vanish. The curse of the samurai ghost warrior is more than just a story. It is a legacy. It speaks of the enduring power of loyalty, the consequences of treachery, and the haunting persistence of a spirit wronged. It reminds us that the past never truly dies, that the echoes of injustice can resonate across centuries, and that some souls, driven by honor and anger, walk eternally between the worlds of the living and the dead. And so, dear listener, if ever you find yourself wandering a mist-covered path in Japan, heed the stories, respect the spirits, and remember the tale of Takeda Masaru, the samurai whose wrath and devotion bind him to this world forever. For in the shadows he waits, silent but vigilant, a living echo of time, a reminder that honor, once betrayed, can linger beyond death. Thank you for joining us on Echoes of Time, where the past speaks and legends live. And if this tale sent shivers down your spine, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that bridge history and myth, keeping the echoes of time alive.